Hello, Aquarius. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, Bonfire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Website on the side of the box here is schifferbooks.com. Feel free to freeze frame and check that out if you'd like to. If you hold it still, hopefully it'll focus so you can see the spelling. I think you can see it. Okay. Of course, freeze frame if you need to. Supportive Oracle cards, magical spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. There's how you spell Lucy's name. They're illustrated by Jesse Reish. It's a Hay House product. You'll notice down below it's a 2002 publication or print or whatever you want to call it. I don't remember going onto the website, and I never think of it once the readings are over. So I'm pretty confident it's there, but I haven't gone onto it. At least I don't recall. So if you want to check it out, feel free. Enjoy. It's an adventure. It's an adventure. There you go. What do we got for Aquarius? Oh. Okay. This looks good so far. Only a couple of Oracle cards, which is fine. Something isn't quite ready. You are ready. Something isn't. Okay. I gotta do the dice for the past because there's somebody here. Are they? What is going on with them? I feel like they're avoiding things. The thing is, until they engage a situation, it doesn't have success. So they have to choose it. What's this in the Ten of Swords reversed in the Tower. So there's this person around you. They seem to try to avoid the Tower by just walking out, just walking away. Is that real? So for example, just as an example, a relationship isn't going very well. So say they're living with somebody else. Maybe it's just a roommate, maybe it's a partner, who knows. Things aren't going that well, things look like they're going towards an issue. Before the Tower happens, they just move. Which is sort of kind of like a Tower moment, but they just like, oh, I have to move, I have to go somewhere else. They just go, and they don't deal with the problem. It's like if they're having a problem in a job and something isn't going well, instead of dealing with the problem, they just get another job and they go somewhere else. I also get like the neglecting of bills here, which I know people do that once in a while, but like if there's something and they're just something's wrong with the bill, they just don't pay it, and then they just ignore it after that. Which, my experience, I haven't personally done that, but other people I know have, and it just kind of messes with your credit. But I don't know. That may be how they handle things. I can understand why you would not like that. That does not seem like a way. Instead of dealing with problems, they just walk away. They're running away from their problems. But I feel like they would seem like, no, I'm just peacefully walking away, as if it makes it better. It doesn't. It doesn't. They're just not ready to kind of own that. And I feel like you're kind of like, you need to work at this. You need to fix this. This is somebody who means a lot to you. If they didn't mean a lot to you, I'd be like, well, that's the way you're going to do it. That's your business. And I would just kind of like, okay. For example, if this is an acquaintance or somebody you just kind of knew at work and you knew they were doing that, but you're like, well, that's their business. I have my own job over here. You do what you got to do, and you'll have to deal with your own consequences. That's fine. But this is somebody you very much care about. And you're like, you want to help them. You're like, we need to do some work to figure this out. We need to do some work so this goes better for you. It's kind of like you're looking at this like they're walking away from all these things, and it's just piling up that they're going to have to deal with them later. They're looking at it like they walk away and it's over. You're like, that's not how life works. Something is building up here. Sooner or later, that's going to be quite the mountain, and you're going to have a lot to answer for that. It's kind of like walking away from a bill, for example. You don't pay it, you just pretend it doesn't exist, but then it damages your credit to the point where when you go for a loan, when you actually want something, your interest rate is so ridiculously high because of that one bill. And you're kind of like, well, that's how that balanced off. Now you got to go fix that, and then a few years down the road, maybe you'll have better credit. You're looking at this like, I really think they need to do this now. They think what they're doing is fine. You're trying to get them to change something, and they're not looking to do that. They're just kind of like, no, Aquarius, you don't know what you're talking about, but you do. Like, I need to tell you that. You know what you're doing. They don't think you do, but they don't want to. They're not really even listening to you. This reminds me of Gemini's reading. I mean, you're definitely different than Gemini, even though you're both air signs. Gemini had an issue with somebody not listening to them too. This person is not. You have really good information. They're just not hearing it. They don't want to hear it, and then they're taking action in a different direction. You really want them to see, because they're starting a whole new situation. Is this going to go well? Well, we're going to find out. The cards are good cards. They're fairly good cards you got going forward, but it's like the information that comes off of them. So we'll find out. They're starting a whole new situation. And it's kind of like... It's one of these situations where... it's not likely they're going to walk away from the next one, but it's kind of like, I really hope they don't. I mean, they technically could this next situation too, but I hope they don't, because that's going to be something. It's almost like buying a house. And they're the ones who are, it's like the mortgage is in their name, just their name, and they're the ones they're solely responsible. They're like, well, it's going to have some issues every now and then, and they can't just walk away from that. So, I don't know what they're thinking, but, or it's like, having a child, it's kind of like, well, I hope they don't walk away from that, because, like, that's not okay. I don't know. It's something like that, though, where you're like, they're going to do this, and there's like, I'm going to do this, and they're choosing to do it, and you're like, that's a lot of responsibility. That's not something you can easily walk away from. In fact, I would argue that you can't, but maybe you can. I don't know. It's going to have definite detriment if you do. Whew, it's a lot. Whatever they're going into next, you see this coming. Oh, you see this coming so easily. You do. You see it coming. They're not going to have the option to walk away anymore. I don't know. Like, people get creative in running away from their problems. I know that. But this person has come to the end of that line. They're not going to... Because I feel like it's come to this end of its rope. Is there a rope on there? I don't think there's a rope on there, but I keep getting like this rope analogy. Queen of Pentacles is like saying, hey, you took this responsibility. You don't get to leave. You got to finish your obligation. You don't get to go anywhere. And I'm getting, with the energy behind that, it's like, I feel like this is the situation they're getting involved with. I feel like the Queen is being representing that situation they're getting involved with. Like, oh no, you don't get to go away. You have responsibilities now, and you are now going to make do one way or another. So either you do it the way you're supposed to, or there's going to be repercussions, and you're not getting away from them either. These ones are not going to be ones you can pretend they don't exist either. Kind of like if you're not paying a bill and you just pretend your credit doesn't matter. You can pretend for a while anyway. Maybe some people can go their whole lives pretending it doesn't. I don't know. But this isn't going to be like that. This is going to be like right in their face, like, you have to handle this now. You're not going to get away with it. It's kind of like you buy a house and maybe something goes wrong with the roof or something. You can't just ignore it. Your house will fall in after a while. Like, you'll have bigger problems. Like, it'll damage the wiring. You'll have big damage, big issues. You can't just ignore it without a different type of outcome that's going to be even worse. So it's a very hard road, but healing is coming. It is. It's coming. Yeah, it is. It's going to be rough on them. This, in my opinion, this is somebody who's like, how do I explain this? It reminds me of working out. I don't know why we're going to use that analogy, but I guess we can. People just deciding, I'm just going to start running, and they just start running. And then they get shin splints, and they get this pain, and they get that pain, and then they realize they got to do the work ahead of time. They got to first ease themselves into it. More importantly, they got to stretch first. They got to do proper stretches, find the correct stretches for them, make sure their body is warmed up, and then do the proper amount of exercise that their body can handle without having issues, and they got to work up to the correct level. In fact, this is like somebody like starting like they're all of a sudden they're training for a marathon, and they're like, you didn't even work out, let alone run. What are you talking about? What are you doing? No, I'm doing this marathon, and you're like, oh, that's gonna hurt. They'll learn the hard way. For whatever reason, they can't get out of the marathon. I know that's a weird analogy, but in this situation, they can't get out of the marathon. So whatever they're choosing, it's something they can't get out of. So they're going to have a lot of pains. They're going to have a lot of hiccups. They're going to have, if you've ever had shin splints, they're not fun. It's not fun. In my case, you get it once and you're like, now I make sure I do what I need to do to make sure that doesn't happen again. Because it's not okay. It's not fun. I've had other issues too. Every time you come across an issue, you're like, how did that happen? How do I safeguard about that not happening again? What do I need to do? They're going to learn that way. It's a rough road, but they will make it. The longer they go, for some reason with this person, they do have a lot of earth energy with them. So whatever that means. It doesn't have to mean they're an earth sign, but it tells me once they're dedicated to it, the farther they get in, the more locked in they are, the better they do. I give it like 5 years. I don't know if that's going to make you, I don't know how that's going to have you feeling, but in 5 years, you're going to start seeing this go a direction where you're more confident with their obligation. It may be about 5 years. They're going to be fine-ish. Like, they're going to stumble. They're going to face plant a couple times. That's going to hurt. They're going to have their nose fixed. Like, it's going to be rough. But they're going to heal. They're going to keep going. They're going to learn. And I feel like I keep getting something about 5 years. I don't know if that sounds ridiculous, but if it does, it does. They're going to be so deep into this. It's kind of like it was so much, whatever it is they're into, it was so difficult to learn the lessons they learned that they're not willing to give it up. They feel like they're finally excelling at something. They learned the hard way. There's that saying, like the school of hard knocks. What does that saying go? Something about the school of hard knocks, and what you learn in the school of hard knocks, you never forget. Something. I don't know how that saying goes. It's not coming into the forefront of my brain. But you know, when you learn it the hard way, you tend never to forget it. So every lesson they learn, they like master it. They hit that wall, they get through that wall, and then when they come up to it again, they're like, nope, I remember what happened last time, and this is how you properly get past it. They learn it the first time because it was so hard the first time. They're like, I don't want to repeat that. So when they do learn something, they learn it quite well the hard way. They're like, I ain't doing that again. You know what I mean? You learn it the hard way, you tend not to forget. It's going to go really well. I don't know if this is going to help you. Is there something else I can add to that? Like, I feel like this is kind of brutal, but they're going to be very self-sufficient. They're clearly not going to always make the best decisions. They're going to think they are, but they're clearly not. They are going to be extremely self-sufficient, and I do feel like there might, I don't know, they're going to be self-sufficient. What's this? You got the High Priestess here. I don't see you as connected or like worrying about them as much. They're going to separate from you a little bit more in the future. I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent. They do seem to be separating from you. Every now and then you bring in information, and every now and then you help them in the future. But they do seem to be separating from you more. They're definitely more self-sufficient, and I feel like overall, I feel more confident for them. I feel more self-assured that they're going to be okay and that things are going to work out for them. They go through the school of hard knocks coming up here, and they do well. They do well. They make it through. They do well. And I feel like that brings up your confidence level for them. Like, all right. So hopefully, I feel like what this reading is hopefully doing for you is kind of like somebody you're very worried about. They're saying, realize it's going to work out. They are going to take a really rough road. It is going to be very painful, but they will make it. They will make it, is what they're kind of trying to say. Like, this person will make it. It's going to make you nervous. It's going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to try to help. They're going to realize you have good information, and I feel like when they're face down in the pavement, I feel like they will let you help them. I also feel like they're going to be embarrassed and they're going to want to be more self-sufficient. This person is going for self-sufficiency. So realize the information that you give them, they're going to look to duplicate on their own. They're going to try to find ways they can find their own answers. This person is going towards a path of self-sufficiency, which I feel like is very empowering and very good for them. Sooner or later, they will get there. It's just a rough, very rough road. Hopefully that's empowering for you. Hopefully. I can understand where it's kind of like, oh, that seems like something coming forward. But at least it has a good ending the way it looks so far. Alright, I think we're done. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same information, same email. Thank you again for watching, and have a great day.